Authors note, the first image is a painted rendition of a Turkoman ceremonial wall hanging. Our journey begins not with a plant, but with a strike of lightning. In the high steppes of Central Asia, the Turkmen tribes recorded a sacred biological event. Look at this ritual wall design. Here, the tree of life is stripped of all botanical pretense. It is a vertical pillar, a white stipe supporting a domed cap, flanked by jagged bolts. To the nomad, the mushroom was the child of thunder, appearing overnight as if by magic. This is the rawest expression of soma, an entheogen that bridges the red earth and the white light of the heavens. This rug belongs to the Shirvan, or Dagestan tradition, from the eastern Caucasus, specifically the region of modern-day Azerbaijan. The iconography here is incredibly sharp and supports the fungal atmospheric theme. While mainstream textile historians will often call these flaming palmettes or serrated leaves, the specific geometric execution in Caucasian rugs tells a more complex story. Fungal and atmospheric symbolism, the tree of life. The red circular figures on the vertical axes are almost literal depictions of a stiped mushroom. You can see a clear stem leading up to a domed cap. The dark serrated gills or fringe surrounding the red caps are highly reminiscent of an amanita. The lightning bolts, the diagonal serrated yellow and black figures, are classic Caucasian dragon or lightning motifs. In ancient Eurasian mythology, there is a deep-seated belief that the mushrooms are children of thunder, fruiting immediately after lightning strikes the earth. Seeing these lightning bolts directly flanking the mushroom figure suggests a preserved visual narrative of this ecological connection. Caucasian rugs, like Shirvan, are known for this hypergeometric crystalline structure. Every element is sharp and deliberate. The use of a vibrant, saturated madder red background with high contrast ivory, yellowed with age, and deep indigo is a hallmark of the Eastern Caucasus. As we move into the borderlands of Persia and Afghanistan, we encounter the Baluch nomads. On their functional saddlebags, or korzian, the Soma narrative is hidden in plain sight. Conventional scholars call these arrowheads, but notice their behavior. They don't fly, they sprout. They emerge in massive repetitive clusters of flush fruiting bodies. The Baluch are often called the most nomadic of nomads. Their designs are rugged, moody, and use dark, earthly tones, purples, deep reds, and browns. They're frequently distilled down to these stalk and cap symbols. This piece feels like a portable altar of fungal geometry. The sheer repetition of small mushroom-like motifs creates a rhythmic, almost hallucinogenic visual field that is characteristic of the best Baluch work. The imagery of this Baluch piece is a masterclass in fungal symbolism. Unlike the masked city rugs, nomadic Baluch weavers often use very archaic, literal geometric forms. Surrounding the central diamond is a literal army of white arrowheads on stalks. In standard rug books, these are called secondary geometric motifs. However, their morphology is undeniable, a vertical stipe supported by a triangular cap. They are arranged as if they are fruiting in a massive colony, a flush from the central diamond. The central diamond, or gu, often represents the source of life. The Saruk tribe further distilled this into the triple cap motif. This is the fungal trinity, by rendering the mushroom as a geometric triangle on a stalk. These tribes preserved the literal anatomy of the sacred fungi before it was civilized into the flowers of the city. These were not just rugs, they were maps of the visionary landscape. This is an extraordinary piece of textile history. It is a Coptic textile rondo, likely from Egypt, dating between the 4th and 7th centuries AD. These were typically woven as ornaments, clavi or orbiculi, to be sewn onto linen tunics or funerary cloths. While later Persian carpets mask these symbols in floral geometry, this late antique piece is much more explicit. Look at the upper perimeter of the green circle. There are clear red triangular shapes on stalks. These are frequently identified by textile historians as lotus buds or heart-shaped leaves, but their spacing and morphology, distinct red caps on ivory stems, are a perfect match for the young fruiting bodies of certain fungi. The two central figures, often called erotes or putti, appear to be in a dynamic, perhaps ritualistic posture. In many Coptic textiles of this era, these figures are shown harvesting grapes, but here they are interacting with central vessels and stalked objects that do not resemble vines or clusters of grapes. In the great weaving centers like Isfahan and Malaya, the entheogen undergoes its final transformation. Here the raw pillar becomes the Shah Abbasi palmette. But look closer at the Malaya weave. The combing or white striations inside the red cap are not petals. They are a precise rendering of lamellae or gills. The scrolling vines connecting these flowers are not rigid plant stems. From the Turkmen ritual gate to the Isfahan palace floor was a continuous underground transmission of knowledge. The primitive weaver recorded the biology, the city weaver recorded the theology. Both, however, were nodding to the same soma, the sacred lightning-born organism that sits at the center of the weave. Next, we have a cross-cultural sequence of images that provide powerful visual evidence for the global footprint of the Fungal Arcana. By examining these artifacts from China, Indonesia, and the Americas, we can see that the stalk and cap iconography and its association with divinity and transformation is a universal human archetype. This is a 1st century BC Chinese carpet made of wool. The scene depicts a Zoroastrian ritual or a similar nomadic religious ceremony. The fire altar features an S-shaped motif, which is sometimes interpreted as a dragon symbol. Some researchers suggest the object held by the priest represents a psychoactive substance like soma or heoma, with a visual representation resembling a psilocybe mushroom, such as Psilocybe cubensis. Here we have a 19th century ship cloth from Sumatra, Indonesia. Toward the bottom, you'll see 3 arrows, or what I call mushrooms, and also in the top right and left corners, you have the hooked design, which also looks like mushrooms. This image shows a pre-Columbian Chanque textile fragment from the north coast of Peru, dating approximately between 800 to 1200 current era. The figure, most likely the god Viracocha, holds a mushroom in each hand, and his headdress is a gold mushroom-shaped tumi, or a ceremonial knife. The narrative is not just Persian, it is global. In Indonesia, the Lampung ship cloth uses mushroom pillars to navigate the soul. In China, the Lingzi became the scepter of immortality. In the Americas, the Paracas shaman wore the fungal cap as a headdress of flight. Whether it is an arrow of the Baluch or the Tumi of the Nazca, we see a single universal visual archetype: the weave of the carpet, the dye of the silk, and the stone of the temple all tell the same story, the persistent underground memory of the sacred fungus that granted humanity its first glimpse of the divine. The soma was never lost. It was simply woven into the fabric of our lives, waiting for us to recognize the gills beneath the petals and the lightning beneath the loom.